Are you trying to get your coaching business off the ground or actually gain some momentum within it, but you're struggling with balancing your 9 to 5 and starting your business? Well, you're not alone. But the great news is you don't have to try to struggle balancing your business as well as your job and be always on the brink of burnout. Today, I'm going to share 6 simple strategies to get your coaching business up and running without the overwhelm. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Balancing a business as well as balancing your typical 9 to 5 can be a little bit stressful, and it is going to require consistency and dedication and determination. But what I found that kept giving me the momentum time after time was understanding my why. Here's the thing. If your why is simply, oh, I hate my job and I just want to do something better, your motivation is going to wane. If your why is, I really want to change people's lives, or I know I have something impactful to share, you're going to continuously show up because you know that the outcome is bigger than you. You know that it has more to do with just what you see. And so I want you to really consider what your why is, and more importantly, how you can hold tight to that why so that you're constantly focused on moving in the right direction as it relates to your business. The second strategy is to get a really good understanding of your brand. The reality is there are a ton of different coaches and there are millions of ways in which you can approach coaching. So are you planning to do one-on-one sessions? Are you planning to do group live sessions? Are you planning to create a self-study course? Or are you creating passive income streams like an ebook or something of that nature? It's important for you to understand your brand altogether so that you can create a comprehensive schedule in which you can show up for your brand most effectively. Here's a key hint. If you really want to increase your productivity and your effectiveness, don't just raise your client load, raise your prices, because understand that you could get a ton of clients at $50 an hour, but you could also get less clients at $500 an hour and still end up making more money in the long road. And what I also understand is the more you make, the more you're paid for your zone of genius, the more you show up. Therefore, you're being more effective as a coach. Now, I understand that sometimes money can be really funny, so that's okay if you need to start at a place where you're energetically at a place to receive income at a certain level and build up, but that's something to keep in the back of your mind. If you ever want to be able to leave your job, you can't just try to beat that number hour by hour. I have people all the time that'll say, well, I made $50 an hour meeting with the client, which is wonderful because that's more than maybe what you're making in your 9 to 5. But over the long run, is that something that you can scale? Is that something that will eventually burn you out? And if we're being honest, the answer is most likely. So again, consider that as you're building your brand model. The third strategy is to create a schedule that's going to work for you. So when you're looking at your schedule, you know when you need to be at work, but you also can see where there's time. Now, I know a lot of times we'll say, well, I don't have a ton of free time. But my research that I've been doing says the average American wastes 2.09 hours. So we have time to dedicate, but we're often doing other things like scrolling social media mindlessly or watching Netflix and chilling, all the things, when we should really be putting our time and attention into the business that we desire to grow or expand. So determine a schedule that's going to work for you. When are you going to post content? When are you going to create content? When can you meet with clients? When you create a schedule in advance, that it puts you in a path to succeed. A lot of times we don't create a schedule and then we just hope that we can create room. But when you're more intentional about planning, you create the opportunities for you to create space in your schedule to do things in which need to be done as it relates to your business. When I was beginning my business, I was busy. Like, that was my middle name. I was working a full-time job, working a part-time job, in grad school full-time, and I was trying to start a business and raising 2 young kids. So I was very, very much trying to balance it all. So for me, my schedule became my peace time. So early in the mornings, that was the time that I created the things that I needed to create, because content is the thing that's going to engage your audience. Content is the thing that's working even when you're not. So that's when I really worked to create content that I was going to post online, or videos for YouTube and things like that, or even content for inside of my programs and courses. And then in the evenings and as well on my lunch hour, I would create scheduled space so that I could do one-on-one calls with clients. This allowed me to still show up effectively at my jobs, allowed me to still show up effectively in my home, but it allowed me to also show up effectively within my business. And the best thing I can say is planning in advance is going to put you on the fast track to success instead of waiting for it to be convenient or available. Because I promise, if you wait for that, you'll never be able to find it. The fourth strategy is to get your systems in place. You are only one person, so you cannot be expected to do and be all the things. Having a system is going to be so crucial. So a scheduling system, having your website up and ready so that it can collect email addresses, maybe having social media posting systems in place. This is going to be key. I'll give you guys a very tangible example. If somebody wants to get on a one-on-one call with you and you're emailing back and forth, does this time work for you? Nope. Does this time work for you? Nope. Does this? You guys, that's wasting 5, 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes of your time going back and forth when you could just literally have one simple system to send them in which they can look at their calendar. It's attached to your calendar, and now they know that a time is going to work for both you and for them. For example, you can use Calendly or Acuity if you're new to business. Those are great systems. You can also have certain posting systems in place. Tailwind is a perfect example. It posts on Pinterest as well as Instagram. Having those things in place saves you in the long run. Also, having your email automating system already up. The last thing you want to do is have people that sign up for an offer with you have to wait for you to manually type out an email every single time. Have your systems in place because it's going to save you a ton of time in the long run. I cannot stress that enough. The fifth strategy is don't be afraid to outsource. There are things that are your zone of genius, and then there's likely things that are not your zone of genius. And if you spend your energy and time on the things that are not in your zone of genius, how effectively are you going to show up in the things that you need to really be focused on? I'll give you guys a very tangible example. I learned a lot through my own experiences, but when I was starting my business, I wanted to cut costs. So I decided I was going to create my own website, YouTubing and Googling things. And while it was a very great experience because I learned a lot about myself, it took me probably 3 weeks to get my website up and running, and it was still not effective. It wasn't linking with my email automator. It wasn't really beautified. And so at that point, I had to kind of bite the bullet and pay someone to get my website up, who was able to get it up in 5 days. And I immediately was able to start collecting email addresses, and I felt like a real business. Sometimes we have to step aside of our pride and recognize that we shouldn't know. It's okay if we don't know everything. In fact, when I was able to outsource that website creation to somebody else, it created space for me to show up in my zone of genius, which was creating and engaging with my audience. So how can you outsource for your business so that you can also show up more effectively? The final and last step is to increase your magnetism. And I know for a lot of coaches, that can be really triggering because it's like, how do I do that? What does that even mean? I show up, I post, I engage. Like, what else am I supposed to do? The good news is you don't have to try to figure that out alone, and you don't have to overcomplicate it. I am offering you access to my free Get Your Next Paying Client Now bundle, where I pull back the curtains and I share my 5-step proprietary method to increasing your magnetism, increasing your impact, and connecting with your dream client. If you're ready to get access and join us, use the link below, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside. As you're looking for the tools to get your voice out into the world, I want you to know that you don't need to overcomplicate the process. Using the 6-step simple method, you'll be able to not only increase your income, but also increase your impact. So I challenge you to get started as soon as today. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more wishing. Let's just make it happen. I hope that you guys have an absolutely amazing day. Make sure you hit like and subscribe before you go. And until next time, I'll chat with you later.